Truth is making a comeback. America's Top Stories with Lisa K. Donner.
We hear endlessly about police brutality from the advocacy media, and especially that police brutality is fueled by rampant racism in America. But is America having the right conversation about this matter? That's the question that Jeff Charles asks in an article for LibertyNation.com this week. Jeff joins us now to discuss this. Jeff, I want to jump right in because you say that the media constantly focuses on the race issue rather than the violence issue, and that this causes us to keep going around the same flagpole without trying to solve the real problem here. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so what I mean by that is basically when there's a legitimate case of police brutality, the media only covers it from a racial perspective. So what that means is that basically they only cover the cases in which Black men are victimized. And these stories are the ones that receive nationwide attention. The reason for this is that they want to push the racial angle rather than paying more attention to the fact that an officer of the law abused his power. So in this way, they inflame racial tensions and they perpetuate the narrative that they want to perpetuate. Basically that America is a racist nation and that police are in the streets hunting down Black people and everything is going to hell. But the facts reveal a little bit something different, and the racial narrative just serves as a distraction from what we should really be focused on.
So that really brings us to the question, what do the statistics tell us about police shootings in America?
Yeah, so for instance, last year, there were 18 unarmed Black men that were killed in police shootings. There were 23 unarmed whites that were killed and 6 Hispanics. So the thing is, with the studies, there are all types of statistics and all types of studies that have been done on this issue, and a lot of them conflict. Some studies show that unarmed Black men are more likely to be shot. Other studies show something different. But the bottom line is that the one thing that these studies have in common, as far as the results, is that there are cases where Americans are being victimized by police officers. Now, I'm going to add a caveat to that. In a lot of these situations, there are situations where the suspect puts the police officer's life in danger. So a lot of them are justified shootings, whether the suspect is unarmed or whether the person is armed. But there are plenty of cases involving brutality where there's a shooting or whether the police officer just used excessive force that was more than what was needed to apprehend the suspect. So this is something that is happening, and it is an issue that needs to be addressed.
You say that major news outlets, typically the legacy media, they push these stories to exacerbate ethnic tensions and paint a picture of racist America. What are the effects of this kind of reportage on the Black community as well as the white community?
The problem is that the impact is that it inflames racial tensions. It causes more resentment. It causes more hate between minorities and whites. And the bottom line is that nobody really knows what is inside the minds of the officers that perform these acts. In some cases, it's on accident. Sometimes they're just abusing their authority. We don't know if it's because they're racist or not. So the reality is that the racial issue, since we can't read minds, it would be better to focus on what the real issue is. And that's the few police officers who abuse their authority are not being held accountable. So it has an impact on race relations. It also has an impact on the good police officers. The majority of police officers would never do something like shoot a Philando Castile or a Daniel Shaver from last year. But the small amount that do perform these acts are making the rest look bad. So it really has horrible consequences all around, and focusing only on the racial aspect distracts from the other ramifications.
Right. So what's really going on here is that the media is working hard to influence rather than inform. And when they do that, it hampers our ability to get to the bottom of the issue. Isn't that correct?
That is exactly correct. I mean, the job of the press used to be and should still be to expose government corruption and to make sure that the American public is informed on the issues that are important. The problem is now the media is being selective in what they report in an effort to promote a certain narrative. That's why you only hear about Black men unarmed being shot by the police, but you don't hear about somebody like Daniel Shaver, a white man who was shot by police. He was unarmed, and many people agreed that that was a bad shoot. This happens far too often, and the thing is, what would happen if the media were to report on every single instance and give it nationwide attention? Well, in that case, you've got Black, white, Hispanic, everybody coming together to solve the problem. The narrative that the media is pushing is divisive, and it's designed to be divisive. When people are united, they can affect real change, and government officials who have the authority to take away our rights will be held accountable when they do so unjustly.
Let me ask you this final question, and that is, what do they gain by painting a racist America?
Well, I mean, we know that the establishment media leans to the left. Most of their journalists are Democrats. And really, by promoting this narrative, they're able to convince more minority voters to vote for them rather than for conservatives who don't peddle in identity politics in the way that the left does. So in this way, they use it to divide, but also to manipulate. And so by promoting the message that America is a racist nation that hates Blacks and Hispanics and Asians, using fear, they're able to manipulate these individuals into supporting them. So basically, it's a political agenda. It has to do with getting more votes.
Right, and don't you think that this, I mean, one of the things that you have been beating the drum about for a long time on LibertyNation.com is that they try to constantly promote a narrative of victimhood among the Black community. And that doesn't really help the situation, does it?
No, it doesn't. But here's the thing. If you can convince somebody that they're a victim and that they have to depend on you, you don't really have to do anything more than that. But the thing is, if they want to be the party or be seen as the group who cares about the victim, they have to keep people victimized, which means that they have to constantly push this message. If the problem of police brutality got solved, then there would be no need, there would be no way for them to use these situations to inflame racial tensions and to divide us further. So basically, it's nothing more than a manipulation tool.
Well, thank you very much. This has been very enlightening, Jeff. I appreciate your honesty and your perspectives and your articles on LibertyNation.com. That's author Jeff Charles, Media Affairs Correspondent. Thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Thanks, Lisa.
Truth is making a comeback. Visit us at LibertyNation.com.